Hi everybody and welcome back to Baking Bad. This is episode number 10 and today we are going to be making bagels. Now I last made bagels in about 37 years ago when I actually worked at the Bagel Bake, the famous Bagel Bake in Brick Lane in East London. And I used to do the night shift around about 1983-84 time. I'd go in and work the night shift, and my job was to boil the bagels and then douse them with a hose with cold water before the other chefs in the kitchen put them in the oven. The bagels back then were made by hand. You would roll the dough into a snake and wrap it around your hand, roll it like that and flip them off, and Abraham was an absolute master at this and he'd do that. I'm going to be using a slightly different technique. Now there are millions of different recipes for bagels, proving times, fermentation times, hydration of dough, etc. And this is an amalgam of quite a few different recipes, but they always say, you know, New York bagels are the best. Well, Bagel Bake Brick Lane are the best in my opinion. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off with some tepid, warm water, 255 millilitres of warm water. And to that we are going to add our magic ingredient, which is malt extract. It's kind of like a sweet molasses honey type thing, but it's got a flavour all of its own, which is a malt flavour for those of you that remember malted drinks. And we're going to plop in 20 grams of this stuff. It is insanely sticky, as are most syrups, so we'll plop that in there. Here we go. Lovely stuff. Let's get as much as we can off the spoon. Here we go, 16. In fact, there's probably 20 grams just sort of stuck on the spoon. We can get that in there too. Gacky stuff. In fact, let's just get that all off the spoon like that. So it's very, very sweet and very, very sticky. I now need a new teaspoon. So 255 millilitres of warm water, and we're just going to stir that up and dissolve the malt into that water. Very nice. And into that we are going to put just 3 grams of instant dried yeast. And there's one. There we go, 3 grams of instant dried yeast. You don't want to over yeast this. You have to remember that bagel dough is quite tight and quite dense and quite chewy. Very dense and chewy. In fact, I'm going to give that a little whisk around and dissolve it. And just for a few minutes we'll let the yeast activate in the sugar. So it's a very sugary old mixture, that, so the yeast will eat into the sugar and get itself going. Right, now you need to use very strong bread flour. And this is Shipton Mill. I bought 25 kilos of this stuff and then bagged it up in freezer bags in ½ kilo lumps. So we're going to have 455 grams, which will be most of this bag. Almost there. So it's quite a low hydration, about 55% hydration, so it's quite a tight dough. And into that we are going to add 10 grams of salt, which is usually one of these teaspoons. Let's get in there. Exactly 10 grams. And then we'll just give it a quick mix up, like so. Break up any of the lumps of flour. Just give it a good old mix up. And today we're using a stand mixer for the kneading, because bagel dough needs a good big fat knead. And what I'm going to do is use the stand mixer and the dough hook just to very slowly mix up the dough, or the flour and the salt. That'll do. So the 5 ingredients, we have flour and salt, 10 grams of salt, 455 grams of flour, 225 grams of warm water, 3 grams of yeast, and 20 grams of malt extract. And we are going to pour this into here and set it off kneading at a very slow speed to start with. Just to let it come together and incorporate. Now, if you don't have a stand mixer, just do it in a bowl and do it by hand and get it out on the counter and give it a really good 10 to 15 minute knead. It takes a lot of kneading, this particular dough, because it's quite a tight texture we want in the bagel. For those of us who are familiar with good bagels, they have a very tight texture. And I'm just going to let this knead away with the dough hook for about 3 minutes. Okay, after about 3 minutes, it's virtually incorporated all the flour. We're now going to up the speed. We're going to let this roll. We're going to let this roll for about 10 to 12 minutes at this speed. As you can see, it's now starting to take up all the flour from the side of the bowl, and we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you in about 10 minutes after it's kneaded. Okay, right, we've been going for about 12 minutes. Okay, let's have a look at what we've got. Look at that, the bowl is completely clean. It's sort of essentially completely unsticky. Beautifully smooth and elastic. I'm just going to give it a little roll and a little extra knead here. Not because it maybe needs it, but because it just feels really nice. And it makes a fantastic dough. And bagels is actually one of my favourite breads. In fact, I'd go as far as to say it's probably the best bread since sliced thin. So anyway, here we go. Beautiful, super smooth, absolutely amazing, not sticky at all. And if you don't have a stand mixer, you're just going to have to do it by hand for about 15 minutes maybe at max, but it's really quite an amazing dough, and it's a very low hydration as well, so another reason why it's not completely sticky. Now we're going to let that sit for about 40 minutes. It's not a massively long proof, in a very lightly oiled bowl, and the best way to lightly oil a bowl is a piece of kitchen towel. We don't want any heavy flavoured oils, so just a small amount of vegetable oil. And there we go. This is one of the nicest, easiest ways to lightly oil a bowl. There we go. Let's do it the other side. Pick up the excess oil, and there we go, a lightly oiled bowl, into which this will sit. Some cling film. Okie dokie, let's get it drum tight. Now, a couple of days ago we celebrated 75 years of VE Day, Victory in Europe Day. And so I thought for the drumming we'd have a little a little riff from Dad's Army at the end of the show. He used to have that little bit of drumming there. So that's going to sit for about 45 minutes, no more than that. We don't want it to double or triple in size. We want it about 50% of its size. And out of this we should hopefully get about 8 nice fat bagels. So in about 45 minutes, I'll see you then. Okay folks, right. We've had an hour or so. I actually did a little longer in a cold environment. If you prove in a cold environment, it takes longer to prove, but it does improve the flavour. Let's have a look. Feels nice. We should now get the dough out of the bowl. Again, we're not looking for great big air bubbles. We're looking for a close texture in a bagel, so we'll just scrape all that off the sides, and that little bit of oil helps. But it does feel very lovely and unsticky. It is a little bit sticky after all, it's dough. Right, okay, with our oil on our bit of kitchen towel, we're going to slightly oil, slightly, very, very lightly grease a couple of trays. I'm hoping to get 8 bagels out of this lump. We're just going to grease the kitchen paper like so, just so it doesn't stick too much. Not that it should really stick. And now we're going to go through fun process of weighing out the bagels. So we'll cut it in half, then in half, then in half, giving us 8 bagels. So your old dough cutter, do get one of these if you can, or an equivalent, they're very useful. And we'll slice through the dough like so, and as you can see it's not sticky at all. So on we go, 383. 349, okie dokie. 365. 367. Okay, I'm going to be a total pedant. 366. 366. There we go. Right, 2 big fat bagels. Right. Right, go in half again. Okay, right, each of these weighs exactly 91 grams. And what we're going to do is just press it down and then bring the edges in, like so. Bit of a long-winded way to do it. Put it all together like that, so we end up with a lovely little ball, which we will sit there. And just press it flat. That's it. Pull and tuck the corners in like so. There we go, these are lovely little ball shapes. And just form them like so. Just a little bit of cling film with our oily rag. There we go. Just sit those down. Yeah, lovely. So they don't dry out. We don't want them to dry out. We just want them to fluff up a bit. There we go. So not really adding any oil to the situation. And we're going to sit these here for about 20 minutes. Okay folks, 20 minutes have passed and we are now going to form our bagels, and as you can see, that cling film comes off beautifully and it comes off like that. If you get the hydration right, your dough will be perfect and non-sticky. Now there's loads of different ways you can roll them out into a sausage and then form them, but one of the easiest ways I've found is to simply do that. And try and make an even hole in the middle, like so. And just do that. And there you go. Open them out. Try and keep them even as best you can. And we'll pop these through again. The same. Try and keep them even. This is one of the best ways of doing it, like so. Look at that. There we go. That's a much better example than that one, but as they say in a particular New York bagel bake, as they do in the bagel bake back when I was there in the early 80s, is that no two bagels should be the same. They should each have their own character. So just poke a hole and go like that. Okay, so there we go. These are now going to sit for another half an hour or so to kind of fluff up a little bit more. Remember, yeast almost never sleeps unless you kill it. Okay folks, about half an hour has passed, and as you can see, they've proved up slightly, including my first rather funny misshapen one, but they all look very bagely. Now, what we do with bagel bread, of course, is we boil it. Unlike other breads, we boil it. So we've got a pan of boiling water here, and you need it so that you can get at least like 4 in at one go. And to this we are going to add 7 grams of salt. Now, because I weigh salt out so much, I can pretty much do this by eye. That's about 7 grams of salt into the water. Now you can use the malt, or I'm using clear honey, or you can use golden syrup, but a nice fat tablespoon of honey, and dissolve that into the water. Let it dissolve away completely. Very nice. So salt, honey, syrup, or you can use the malt. You will also need one of these, or a slotted spoon of some kind, to drain the... I'm just going to put actually a tiny touch more in there. Recipes state up to a tablespoon and a half, but give that a good stir in. Nice. Okay. And magic ingredient, 14 grams of bicarbonate of soda. There you go. Get that in there. Enjoy the fizz action. Wait for it to stop fizzing and dissolve. And this will give you a very shiny top. So we just need to make sure that that all has dissolved away, which it is now doing. The oven, incidentally, is up to 220 centigrade, so a very hot oven. I've got some more oil in a piece of kitchen towel. And what we are now going to do, we'll do these in 2 batches. Look at those. They've proved up beautifully. And we're going to give them 1 minute each side. So try and be as gentle as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there we go, boiling bagels. They went in at 5 seconds past the minute. So we're going to give them 60 seconds. Now while that's happening, I am now going to re-grease the old parchment paper, like so. And we want to get them out and drained onto here. And I'm going to be using black toasted sesame seeds.
You're not getting them cold.
Which is a favourite. You can douse the bagels into cold water afterwards, but half the recipes say not to, the other half say to do it. I used to do it at the bagel bake, but we're going to go straight on in. Okay, that's your 60 seconds, and over they go. Hey. Big, fat, fluffy, beautiful bagels. They're just coming up for time. It doesn't matter if you go slightly over or slightly under. They just need that boil. So get them out. And that's it, and drain them off. Straight onto the baking sheet. Up we come. Drain them off. Voila. Here's our Hunchback of Notre Dame version. There we go. Like so. Keep them all slightly apart. And then we shall now dress them with some black toasted sesame seeds. Lovely, 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 lovely. Get a few more on you and you. Oh, here we go, like my usual nonsense. Right. Let's have a look at the time. Right. Wallet. In you go. 220. Very hot oven. Right, let's get to the others. Here we go. Off you come. 1, 2, and of course they come off the paper. 3 and 4. Beautifully. Grease the paper while they're cooking. And that's it. Lovely stuff. Flip them over. 2, 3, 4. Keep an eye on the old clock. You don't have to be crazy accurate with this, but you don't want them to over poach. What I'm going to do now is flip them back over like so, and as you can see, they're slightly smoother on the side that they proved on, and then they're going to come out. Turn the heat off, drain them out. 1. So you can do dried onion, dried garlic, poppy seeds, light sesame seeds. There we go, smashing. And these will go in behind the others. Voila, in we go. Poof. Okay, now what I also do, of course, is that I shall flip these round after about 7 or 8 minutes to get an even bake on them, and we'll come back when they're coming out of the oven. Obviously the first batch is going to come out before the second batch, but we'll see you when they're ready and they come out of the oven. Awesome bagels. Okay, nearly 15 minutes have passed. Kung Fu oven gloves. And here comes the first batch. Wallop. There we go. Look at those. In fact, I'm just going to flip the second batch onto that higher shelf. There we go. Ooh. Hot. There you go, even my comedy bagel looks fantastic, but wow, look at those, shiny tops. Oven gloves, kung fu, oven gloves. There we go. Now these are the ones that we inverted before we put them on the baking sheet. Ah, wow. There you go, folks. They are gorgeous. They've got that shiny top. They've been bathed in the honey bicarb. Bicarb is what makes them quite shiny, and the salt and the honey mixture. Again, apart from honey, you can use the malt syrup. I haven't got very much of that left, and the local branch of Holland and Barrett have run out, so I'm going to have to sort of procure some more online. But honey's just as good, really. The malt syrup is in the dough, as you saw at the start. And we just got to wait for these all to cool down now and get some smoked salmon and some cream cheese and have a classic bagel experience. I'll see you then. Okay, bagel fans, here's our moment of truth. Now, you've heard of avocado hand, where people slice through their hands doing avocados. There's probably also a thing called bagel hand as well, which I shall try to avoid. Oh yeah, look at that. Lovely malty taste. Right, cream cheese. Of course, no need to be sparing with cream cheese, of course. Some classic Philadelphia going in there. There we go, let's get it in there. Some nice fine sliced smoked salmon. In New York they call smoked salmon lox, so if you're out in New York, which I have been many times, when you see cream cheese and lox, that's what they mean. Lox is smoked salmon. And here we go. Let's get some sesame seeds. That is as authentic as you can get. Of course, Wolfdellini has smelt the salmon, haven't you? I want some salmon. No, afraid not. There you go. Beautiful. Really chewy. Classic texture. And that is the way you do that. Okay. Baking Bad number 11. I haven't decided yet. I'm getting offers all the time. People want me to do walnut bread. People want me to do the classic Turkish bread called çörek. So we'll have a look. My wife wants digestive biscuits. So whatever it is, we'll be doing it on Baking Bad 11, and it will be a surprise this time. So there you go. Classic bagels. Give them a go. You'll love them. And if you ever buy those horrible shop bought disasters, then shame on you. See you next time.